AOC, calling out AIPAC, dark money for Jamaal Bowman's loss. Here is what Congresswoman had to say following that New York primary election.
We should all be extremely concerned about the role of big money, about the role of massive organizations that can just pour a historic amount, $20 million, the most ever spent in American history, in difficult to trace and difficult to trace funds in order to have influence in our elections. At the end of the day, I do know that House leadership, they issued their endorsement, but this is not about the president. To me, this is not about leadership. What it should be is about all of us trying to actually have a conversation about the role of AIPAC, but also the role of large money and dark money in Democratic primaries, especially when they are funded by Republicans. And that's what we saw. That $20 million was primarily from sources, Republican sources, intended to sow division in the Democratic Party. And we actually do need to have a conversation about that.
Yeah, okay. What she said. And I'm glad that I'm back with you today, Senator, because this next detail in the reporting, I had my suspicions. It's bad enough when you're being targeted by dark money, conservative money. But I've been wondering about the lack of, or I suspect it to be the lack of support from the Democratic Party. People getting on your nerves too much that you could care less if they stay or go. Maybe you want them out.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
I'll give it to you. Speaking of party leadership, according to Politico, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is not all that upset about Jamaal Bowman's loss. This despite Jeffries endorsing Bowman, even donating to his campaign, though critics feel he otherwise phoned in his support. Do you see what I mean? Do you allow for dissenting voices? Do you allow for rigorous and vigorous debate? I think that's where the best policies come from. That's good leadership. I wanted people to tell me what was up, the truth in everything I do. Just tell me the truth. The results speak for themselves. The voters have spoken, Jeffries said plainly Wednesday morning after Bowman's brutal loss. Oh my goodness. We accept those results across the board, across the country. Despite Jeffries' Bowman endorsement, as party leader, he's obligated to support all incumbents in primaries. Moderate George Latimer's blowout victory was actually more in line with Jeffries' posture than the ideological rift currently roiling New York Democratic politics, Politico, with the reporting. It is what it is. That's how I read that statement. It is what it is. Come on. Minority speaker. Many of Bowman's liberal allies say Jeffries should have done more to protect his colleague. Jamaal Bowman was an incumbent. Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of the Democratic caucus. Doesn't that mean the whole caucus? So this is a loss for us and a loss for him. Osama Andrabi of Justice Democrats said in an interview, I think as the Democratic Party, we should be pretty aligned on what we want to see in our democracy. And I don't think breaking records on super PAC spending in the primary is that, he added. Other Bowman allies called on Jeffries to disengage from AIPAC. We write today with dire concerns about what your continued association with AIPAC means for the future of the Democratic Party, the future of our multiracial democracy, and the future of our planet. Coalition of 14 left-leaning and hard-left groups, including NYC-DSA, a Democratic Socialist organization, wrote in a letter to Jeffries. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, spent at least $14.5 million on anti-Bowman ads through its affiliated PAC, United Democracy Project, as of June 20, per FEC filings. Some estimates have praised AIPAC's total spending in this race is closer to $20 million. Latimer has stood strongly with Israel, even as the foreign countries estimated to have killed at least 37,600 Palestinians in Gaza since October. Jezebel with the reporting addition there. This is unprecedented amount of money, even in an American political system so deeply entrenched in a dark money and corporate greed that U.S. election spending exceeds the entire GDP of several countries. But it gets scarier. AIPAC presents a single issue and has described its Democratic candidates as strong pro-Israel voices who are also leaders in the Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Progressive caucuses. It's dark money group. That's what it is. Deep ties to far-right Trump donors and anti-abortion extremists, and all Democrats who accept its money are by extension indelibly tied to these right-wing forces during a pivotal election year, when the party will be running hard on abortion rights. AIPAC has endorsed over 200 anti-abortion Republicans this cycle alone, including dozens that voted for or even co-authored extreme anti-abortion legislation like the Life at Conception Act to establish fetal personhood. Women will be subjected to more dying. AIPAC isn't done yet. Representative Cori Bush's primary slated for August 6th. They're gearing up. Her challenger, Wesley Bell, has already received $2 million from AIPAC. Bush was one of the first members of Congress to call for a ceasefire. She was also the first member to call for the repeal of the Comstock Act, which anti-abortion activists hope a Republican president will use to ban abortion. On top of that, she's one of few House members who shared her personal abortion story. Bush is now in the middle of a competitive primary challenged by a moderate pro-Israel Democrat, accepting scores of funding from anti-abortion donors, including AIPAC. Do you see what they're doing? Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, said, we got to respect voters, the will of the people. We're not talking about voters. We're talking about dark money infecting the process, disenfranchising people. There's no other way around it. I really see it as that, Senator, and I'm disappointed in the Democratic Party, the leadership. I'd rather Representative Jeffries say nothing than that hollow, really trolling statement I found it to be. What say you?
Oh my God, Sharon, you hit the nail on the head. And I do want our viewers to understand this. All of us, I want us to put aside policy disagreements. And this is serious here because I went through what Congressman Jamaal Bowman went through, what he had the benefit of incumbency. And in these parties, they uphold incumbency above all else. So why was that rule not followed when it came to Congressman Jamaal Bowman? I'm gonna tell you why, but let me put that in the parking lot. I understand where he is coming from. In the Ohio 11th district, I ran in a special election in 21 and a regular election cycle in 2020 and 22. These same groups came after me with a vengeance. So when you have dark money groups, be they AIPAC, the NRA, Big Pharma, Big Oil, name it, all of us, I want to center this, all of us that believe in a representative democracy model, which we hold up in the United States of America, whether you on the right, the middle, or the left, we have got to come together and say, this is not how democracy is supposed to work. As a matter of fact, it erodes democracy because what it means is that those who are highly connected and have a lot of money can in fact buy elections. That's number one. Number two, for those who have a problem with people like me and other groups coming out to say clearly that AIPAC purchased this election, of the $20 million that was spent against Congressman Jamaal Bowman, 14 million of it came from AIPAC. AIPAC's goal is clearly Israel is number one for it. It was mad that Congressman Jamaal Bowman, along with some other squad members, were very clear. Let me lift up Congresswoman Rashad Tlaib, who is Palestinian. All they called for, Sharon Reed, is a permanent ceasefire and a way towards peace. And this gets Congressman Jamaal Bowman This onslaught of money. Now, had it been the NRA spending the majority of that money, I would say the same thing about the NRA. So understand that for you folks. If it had been Big Pharma that spent 14 million, I would be decrying Big Pharma. What I am saying is that big, dark money, period. And the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States of America and Citizens United said that money is speech, we've gone awry. Now, although Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez said, the right things in terms, we got to have this discussion, is not on, let me add some things. I'm not saying that I disagree with her, but I want to take this further. You know why leadership of the Democratic Party can't speak on it? Because most of them take that money. 80% of the Congressional Black Caucus takes money from AIPAC. AIPAC just did a commercial basically saying, hey, we donate more to the Congressional Black Caucus, the Asian Caucus, the Progressive Caucus, we got them all. And you ain't got to trust Sister Senator Turner. Go look at their ad. They put it out. They put that ad out. Now, in my district, the money that was spent against me was the greatest amount of money ever spent, dark money spent in the Ohio 11th. It was almost $7 million. So do you guys see the pattern here? It is wrong and we must call it out. Now, Hakeem Jeffries needs to have several seats. The Congressional Black Caucus didn't come to Congressman Jamaal Bowman's aid. The President of the United States did not, but he dipped himself in my race though to support my opponent. I'm gonna go and put that in the parking lot. It is something wrong in this country for those of us that believe that everyday people should have voice and not be bombarded with commercials and ads and flyers that then dilute the voices of the people. You don't even know what to believe anymore. That is what happened, Sharon Reed. They came after this man with a vengeance, and disproportionately AIPAC targets Black elected officials and other elected officials of color, because those elected officials are more likely to stand up on the side of justice. This man was a middle school principal. He's a working class guy. Pretty soon we're not gonna have any working class voices in that Congress. This is gonna go back to the original founding of this country, which is all white men get to control, big money interests gets to control, and those who are highly connected get to control. If people don't see this and understand this, I don't know what to tell you. But whether it's
eye-opening.
it
is eye-opening. I heard about dark money, Senator. I hear bits and pieces, but when you break it down like that, I'm sorry, you pulled into the lot, but I need to start the hybrid, and if you don't mind, I got to pull it back out of this parking lot, because what you said about the President of the United States dipping in on your race, and what I hear in the statement from Hakeem Jeffries, you tell me if it's going too far. I feel like it's not just complacency or apathy. You're liking this. Your own people are liking that. I need you to sit down and shut up, because you're interfering with what we're doing here in the old guard. That's the way it looks to me. I'm not in this thing. I'm just a single mom who is going to cast a ballot. And I do not feel heard. I feel disenfranchised by all of these ducats being spent against citizens who just stepped in. And look what he's faced since he's been in there. This is not an easy job. You're not getting paid enough for this kind of grief. But he did it.
Oh my God. And this man, he stands up for Medicare for all. He stands up for injustice, period. And that's all and then the Democratic Party, my party, I'm a member of the DNC. I want people to understand this. This chick by the name of Liz Smith, I want people to go on social media. She put up a tweet with a picture of the Charlottesville white men who claim themselves to be neo-Nazis. And she put up the following: we kicked out Jamaal Bowman. Now, this is a Democrat. With Democrats like this, you don't need no Republicans. We kicked out Jamaal Bowman. The GOP is nominating Donald Trump. And I want the viewers to go and watch it. She has pictures of the white men who were carrying tiki torches in Charlottesville. How dare you? And then a lady by the name of Rachel quote tweeted on top of it, because I want people to understand. See, anti-blackness is okay. in the United States of America. Black lives don't matter, black pain don't matter, black leadership doesn't matter, and the Republicans do not have a monopoly on bigotry and anti-blackness, because if Liz Smith or anybody else, they were celebrating Sharon Reed the next day. His race was on Tuesday. The next day, mega Republicans and neoliberal Democrats were celebrating that this man lost. But thank you. Shout out Rachel. I don't know Rachel's last name, but she quote tweeted over Liz Smith's tweet, who works, by the way. She was in the upper echelons of Pete Buttigieg's campaign. I want y'all to note that. But Rachel quote tweeted on top of it. She said, official DNC spokesperson here comparing Jamaal Bowman, a black man, to the Nazis from Charlottesville. A glance at how Democrats truly feel about black people. Now I can go on and on and on. This is not about policy positions here. At a certain point, we have got to say, if we want to preserve any modicum of democracy, if we want to make sure that Big Mama and Big Papa have voice, no matter where they hail from, no matter their zip code, we have got to say that this is not the way to do it. But Sharon, again, the reason why the Democrats are not saying much of anything, as a matter of fact, skipping to the lieu and celebrating and high-fiving and comparing Congressman Jamaal Bowman to neo-Nazis, is because they take that money. That's why. They cannot. And I am absolutely outraged by it. And I ain't gonna sit back and be cool, calm, and collected about it. The man did nothing but just say, permanent ceasefire, let's save some folks. You got over 40,000 Palestinians dead. More than half of them are women and children. I don't even know if we qualify that. But see, we think that when we say women and children, it's gonna tug at some people's hearts. Well, some people don't care whether it's women or children because they Palestinian. But they done killed over 40,000 Palestinians. The people are living in famine right now. We got famine in the Congo and Sudan, Haiti, Yemen, all over the world. People are suffering, and you got callous people like Hakeem Jeffries. And then where was the Congressional Black Caucus? Nowhere to be found. They lost a member. Where was the Congressional Progressive Caucus? Nowhere to be found. So I disagree with Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez on the point that leadership didn't do enough. They celebrated and laid in wait for Congressman Bowman to be defeated. And what defeated him, because if they weren't afraid of him and his power and his influence and what he was standing up for and his courage, you ain't got to spend $20 million against somebody you ain't afraid of.
His integrity. He knew that this was coming, and he still spoke his truth.
He
knew it. I wanted you to tell me I had gone too far. I wanted you to tell me, no, Sharon, no, that this is how it is. You're wrong. Here's the inner workings. But she couldn't and didn't do that. And I'm disgusted.
Everybody, I want everybody to be disgusted by this.
Yeah.
Again, this ain't about your political ideology. This is about right and wrong. And people can't think. You know, Sharon, I know we got to go to break, but I was talking to a colleague of mine who we were just reminiscing about what happened in my race, because I got post-traumatic stress disorder. I want people to know that this same group came after Senator Bernard Sanders, who is Jewish, whose father's family perished in the Holocaust. They came after him after he had his heart attack. I want y'all to understand that. They came after Congressman Levin in Michigan too, upseated that man. He was a rabbi of sort, at one point in time in his life. They came after him as well. So we have got to understand what is happening here. So it's AIPAC, Big Pharma, NRA, because I don't want folks saying, oh, you just picking on AIPAC. Oh no, as I said, if it had been Big Pharma that spent that kind of money, I'd be talking about them too. If it was NRA that spent that kind of money, I talk about them too. But in the collective world of lobbyists and who has controlled our far too many elected officials are captured. And they are going to come after Congresswoman Cori Bush next. She next on the list. Sharon, I saw all kinds of trifling tweets. Tweets like, oh, one down, one more to go. We got Bowman. We're on our way to get Cori Bush. And I will underline message in a bottle. I will not be cool, calm, and collected on this. The anti-blackness attached to this is so loud. And the money is violent. The money at this point in politics is violent. It's a violent assault on all of us. But the target today is Black progressives who called for humanity, who called for the killing to stop. They didn't say anything else except, please
Stop this. And for that, violent money attack